Hi, welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, I'm a transformation coach, and I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So at the center, we do a variety of things. We do workshops, trainings, retreats, and every month we have satsang, which means in the company of the truth. So, everyone is welcome to come to the center and take part of whatever we're offering, no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, and especially if you're just beginning. There's so much to learn and experience. We hope you will check it out. So the Spiritual Connection show is all about connection, about connecting with each other, as well as connecting more fully with our own spiritual selves. So also, it's important for you to be able to learn from all my guests about their spiritual journey and what they have to offer. So we're happy that you're joining us tonight, and we really want to support you on your path. So welcome to the show. So tonight, my guest is Carol Shwidock. Welcome to the show, Carol.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm happy that you were able to come. So a little bit about you for our audience, since they don't know you. So Carol is the owner of Harmony Yoga Studio in Stamford for the past 16 years. And she's a yoga therapist there. And before that, she was an occupational therapist for 25 years, working in adult rehabilitation. So it's not that much of a change, but
oh, it is.
A little bit. All right. Well, we're going to learn a lot more about that. So before we get started on all the details about yoga therapy and what you do, can you share with us a little bit about your spiritual journey and how you got to where you are so far?
Sure.
Great.
Well, I was raised Jewish, and by the time I came along, because I have a sister 10 years older than me and a brother who was 15 years older than me, my parents kind of stopped doing. We had the big holidays, Passover, Rosh Hashanah, but we didn't do Friday night service. I didn't have a lot of spirituality really growing up. And then when I was 31, my brother passed away very suddenly in an accident. Like overnight, I spoke to him, and the next day he was gone. And I had a 6-month-old baby, and I didn't quite know what to do with all that. And so I asked around, and somebody found me a rabbi because I wanted to name my daughter after him, because I never named her. I sat at my rabbi's study, Rabbi Mark Golub, for 3 hours just talking about what happens next, because I never really thought about it. And then I was working as an occupational therapist, and I kept saying to my husband, I know there's something else I should be doing in my life, but I don't know what it is. And unfortunately, my husband got diagnosed with an autoimmune liver disease called sclerosing cholangitis, right around the time Samara was 6 months old. So it all kind of happened around the same time. And it really was, we were sort of enjoying for about 10 years. It didn't really affect us that much. And there was no internet back then, so we didn't really read a lot about it. And, it just was a thing. That we knew someday something would happen. And then, long story short, he needed a liver transplant in 2008. And he got it, and he did well for a few years. And then the disease came back, because it was an autoimmune disease. And I just said to him, I can't watch you be sick again. I can't wait for the phone calls again. Let me see if I'm a match. And it was a 1% chance that I was a match. And I was a match.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Totally, soulmates. So in 2011, I donated 60% of my liver to him. And I was a well person that, got cut open, and it was quite an experience. But, I didn't even really think about it. I just wanted my husband to live, and I was a match, and that was that. And so he lived, unfortunately, for 14 months, and then, unfortunately, the disease came back again. But what supported me through all of it was my yoga practice. And I was, on 9/11, I was in a yoga studio. And I came out, and my husband told me what had happened, and I quit my job. I was working for nursing and home care for 10 years, and I quit my job 2 days later, and they said, Carol, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I can't figure it out if I'm working full-time. And like all these things happened that kind of led me to where I am today. We were building this room in the house, a bathroom, a master bathroom, and we had a space underneath it. And the painter said to me, what should I put on the paint can? And I said, just put the yoga space. And then I was like, oh, maybe that's what I should do. And then I went to a party and I met a career counselor, and I said, I'm thinking about becoming a yoga teacher. What do you think? And she said, yeah. So I applied to Kripalu and I got accepted. And it's very different practicing wellness versus illness. And I'm so glad that I'm in wellness now based on all that I've had to endure, because I was not the wife that showed up at 7:30 in the morning at the hospital. I was the one that practiced first and got there at 10 and was positive and upbeat. And, and to me, the yoga is how I've gotten to be in the now.
Well, I'm sure it did make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because knowing you as short a time as I have, I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
So it's very, you have come a long way in a way, it sounds like.
Well, but I also know that, like, my husband's still here. He's around.
Okay.
And I always get signs, and, I know he's up there or wherever there is, guiding me, and I feel that. And so I think that a lot of the things that have happened to me are, because I have an angel up there, my brother, my husband, now my parents, but yeah.
No, that is very helpful. That's great that you can not only accept it, but embrace it and, take advantage of it in a way that a lot of people may miss, because I think we all have this available to us.
No, to everybody, yeah. But if you're not open to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
now they're around. He's always around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really helped shape a lot of your life in that regard.
Yeah. I opened Harmony Yoga 16 years ago, and I didn't do the classic yoga studio of having a bunch of teachers and managing the studio, primarily because I didn't want to be a manager. I wanted to teach. But I also couldn't do that because my husband was in and out of the hospital, and I didn't want to have to be managing something. I wanted to be able to just rely on me and my teaching. And so that's kind of how it evolved to being a boutique studio. I usually have, under 10 people. And because I was an occupational therapist for 25 years, you can't really take the therapist out of the girl. So that's why and besides all the CEUs that I've done, I call myself a yoga therapist because that's what I am,
Yeah, so what does that look like exactly?
Well, when you think about yoga, a lot of people, especially here, in the East, think about muscles and poses. And while I think that is, very, very important, I think it's very important also the energy body, and I know, more than just the regular yoga teacher because I worked in rehab for 25 years, So like when people come into my class, I usually take a poll of, what do you need today? And that's where I usually start from, But I think that, it's, the yoga therapy is about enhancing people to heal themselves. I'm just the river guide, and I say that all the time. They're the ones in the boat, and I'm guiding them. Yeah. To listen to their own body energetically,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also starts with self-awareness as well. So
totally.
Is that something that you help them,
Yeah.
facilitate that?
When I was an occupational therapist, my specialty was traumatic head injury. And I would spend so much time trying to help somebody understand that they had short-term memory loss. Because if you don't know you have memory problem, you can't work on it.
Wow, interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah, right? And these, when you have a traumatic head injury, you've been quote unquote normal, right? And then you've had a trauma, and now your brain is different, So, it's about helping people be in that awareness of what is it now. And if they don't have any awareness, and a lot of people don't have body awareness. They're very disconnected, mind, body. And I get a lot of referrals from psychotherapists and, physicians, because they can see that their patients are disconnected. So it's really interesting. And I love newbies, I love beginners, because I love to see people get turned on to, and I'll never forget, I had a dear friend who, she started practicing yoga with me, and I know you can't see my feet, so I'll show you with my hands. So we started practicing it, and she's got her feet like this. And she's like, I'm totally relaxed. I'm like, you're not. But she didn't know that she wasn't. Because she just walked around. We all walk around with a fight or flight going on, and you get used to that. You think that that's normal. You put on a pair of too tight pants, and then you think that that's how they're supposed to fit.
Yeah.
So it is about awareness
Yeah.
and noticing, what is the message of the body?
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
Because so many people are in their mind all day. And if you asked me, I would say, I am not my mind. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think we're not taught that.
Totally not.
And it happens so gradually, as we grow up from childhood, that it becomes our reality. Listening to that voice in our head that a lot of times is not, most of the time it's not helpful.
And it's a lot of the woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's
yeah.
the future and the past.
Yeah.
And the gift, right? The whole gift is the now. And in yoga means the union of the mind and the body through the breath. And the breath is it, because you don't have to go anywhere to get it.
Yeah.
It's always with you.
Yeah.
And you can just do, we can do a breath right now. You put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, and you inhale for 4 seconds. And you hold that breath for 4 seconds. And you exhale for 4 seconds. And you hold that breath in for 4 seconds. And that's 16 seconds, and all you thought about was the breath.
Yeah.
And that's what brings you to the now.
Right, and I think that's really what a lot of people use for meditation too.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's very, very grounding, it keeps you right there, in the present. That's
Yeah.
what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to, I don't think we can totally still the mind in terms of our thoughts.
No, the
and
mind's
that's
job
that's not
is
the
60 to 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. I mean,
so that's,
you can't turn it off. And thank God we have a mind, right? But you can just say, I'll be back.
just tune out,
Let me
it
just
out for a little
listen
while.
to my heart, to my soul for a little bit.
Yeah, that's really cool. To
Yeah.
get right inside your heart.
Yes.
That's what we did. We had a satsang practice last night, and it's really about taking time to be with yourself.
Yeah.
And your higher self, and the love. It's just a beautiful experience. But a lot of times, we don't take time to do that. So it's great to have a place like Harmony Yoga where people can do that.
Right. Well, my slogan is, if you want to work out, go on the treadmill. And if you want to work in, come to Harmony Yoga.
Oh, wow.
Because it
That's
is.
perfect.
It's about
It's
the harmony
in.
on the inside. And which sort of leads me into, and I know you're going to ask me, so I'll tell you anyway,
Okay.
about this 5 elements yoga that I practice.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So I think I got certified. My husband was still here, so it was probably, 9-10 years ago or so. But the elements are all around us, right? Earth, water, fire, air, space. Nature, Mother Nature is, we don't live in houses without windows.
For a reason.
For a reason.
Yeah.
So the elements are also in our own body. And if you know anything about the chakras or the chakras, the elements kind of line up with that.
Yeah.
So the element of earth is from the tailbone down, and it's the muscular energy in the body, and it's about feeling grounded and safe and protected, and so rooted, So actually, I have a DVD called 5 Elements Harmony Yoga,
Okay.
and there's a 25-minute earth class, right? Which is all about, feeling grounded, not in your head,
Yeah.
but down in your
Yeah.
feet, right?
Yeah.
And then comes the water flow, which is the pelvis, which is interesting because it's the womb area. And it's about going with the flow and allowing. And so it's more like a little bit of a vinyasa flow, but a gentle flow in terms of, moving with the breath.
Okay.
And then comes the core, which is the fire. And the fire is all about transformation, and what do you need to digest? And a lot of twists happen in the fire, because when you twist, you squeeze out, and then you get new energy in. In yoga, we call it the prana, so that flow is a lot of twists. And then there's the element of air, which is your heart. And what I love about air is that it's the heart and the lungs. And when you think about it, sometimes, especially grieving, which I unfortunately know a lot about, you can't breathe, and so it is your lungs, right?
Yeah.
So the element of
totally
air is
connected.
and it's about the heart, but down through your arms, and everything you touch is part of the element of air. So it's a lot of heart openers,
Okay.
and both ends of the spectrum, like the sadness and the joy, because you got to know the darkness and the light.
You have to have both.
Yeah.
Balance.
And then the last element is space, which is the 5th, 6th, and 7th chakra, right?
Yeah.
So it's about speaking your truth and listening to your inner voice, and then connecting to something greater. So that last practice is a bit more meditative.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So each one, you have a separate practice for each one of those of the
Yeah,
elements.
but like if you come to class and I'll ask, and then people will say, and then I'll realize, oh, so we got to work on fire and air today, and I'll just mix it up based on what is needed,
going on.
And I also do restorative yoga, and I actually have a restorative class about once a month. And I used to do it quarterly, but I realized that the way the world is right now, we need it more, And I for the past year or so, I've been doing it with live music, which has been really interesting and wonderful. And I'm actually doing one in the Darien Salt Cave on June 23rd, so that's going to be very cool. But I do a 5 elements restorative. So we do an earth pose, a water pose, fire, air, and space. And I also created yoga dance, which again, we dance to the earth, to the water, to the fire, really shake it up, get it moving, and the fire opens the heart.
Yeah.
And then we do a relaxation in the space. So I've really taken this 5 elements yoga and embraced it, because I just think it's a great framework, and it's about the energy body,
Yeah.
which I'm so fascinated by.
Yeah, it has so much potential. I mean, you can, like you said, you can do different things with it.
Yeah,
And
meditation,
depending on what people need.
Yeah,
So that's really cool. So I'm gonna have to come try that out.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I really like to do that. Yeah. So at your studio, you have regular classes that people can.
I do. I have about 7 community classes a week, group classes. But I
Okay.
do a lot of one-on-ones. I do a lot of privates. And a lot of people start with privates because they're like, people say, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. I mean, you hear that all the time. Everybody can do yoga, and especially I'm not one of those yogis that put my foot on top of my head anyway. That's not my practice.
Yes.
So that's not what I teach. I really
yeah.
cater more to beginners and intermediate students. But a lot of people start with the one-on-one because it's a way to feel safe and then walk into a class and know what to do or feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I have some of my privates I've had for 16 years. They just like the one-on-ones. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's really valuable.
Yeah.
I remember the first yoga class I took years ago. I really didn't know what I was doing or what I was getting into, and it would have been helpful to know in advance, because it just, you don't get as much out of it when you're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, you're not in the moment.
You're not.
You're in
paying
your head.
attention. Yeah.
Totally,
exactly.
right? You're in your head. So
Yeah.
I think there are going to be times in class when you're in your head, but I'm always trying to give the guide, the prompt, to find the breath, because everything that's difficult or that you have to do is going to be all out there when class is over.
Yeah.
So take the time, and it is really about self-care.
Yeah.
To take the time to just tune in, to listen to what's the message of the body, because the body's intelligence is so great.
Yeah. If
And
only...
and if you don't tune in, then the body keeps knocking.
Right, until we listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think a lot of us don't really, we're not in that mode, so we don't know to listen for it, or even how to. I mean, what would you tell a beginner, like you had that client, her feet were not relaxed. How do you coach them to be more aware of their body?
Even just a body scan, of just noticing, even if, as your eyes are closed, like notice, like this morning I was noticing the right side of your body. And then breathing just the right side. And it's so fascinating, you can send your breath anywhere. And so I teach people to send the breath wherever it is that you have the greatest sensation. Because that is how the healing happens. So we did this great breath where you feel the right side, and you inhale up the right, and then you exhale out the left, and then you inhale up the left, and you exhale, I'm sorry, it's the opposite way around. It's inhale left, exhale right, exhale left. And it follows digestion. And it's called the hands-free Nadi Shodhana breath. And it's just interesting to see people get out of their head and into their body,
Yeah, and this is something that anyone can do.
Everyone. Yeah.
And so a lot of this stuff you have on your website, is this?
I have a couple of free classes, like the water flow is on the website. And there's, I have 3 DVDs. Over the years, I've produced 3 DVDs.
Okay, cool.
So the first one was because students said to me, Carol, I want to practice with you, but I can't come to class 4 times a week, and you don't offer those many classes, So I created the Essence of Harmony Yoga. And then my rabbi, my dear friend that I met so long ago, has a television station. It's the Jewish Broadcast Station, JBS. And he asked me if I would do yoga on his TV show. So he has excerpts from my first DVD, which is a 2-hour DVD. And then after I did the donation, and actually he was with me at the time, and he came to the hospital with Brad and I, and he's a dear friend. I filmed, when I was 6 weeks post-op, I filmed bedside yoga so that I could teach people how to move that were, I still had, a scar, and I still have a scar, but, I was just starting to move again, and so I wanted to film it while I was still feeling the tightness.
Okay, so it would be more authentic and...
So it's good for people pre-op and post-op.
So when you say bedside yoga...
So it's all in bed.
Oh, so it's on the bed.
On the bed, sitting up on the bed, laying down on the bed. We do a little restorative on the bed. It's very gentle, uber gentle. And then my most recent DVD, what happened was the TV station, the viewers were complaining that there wasn't enough variety. So the TV station said, can I come up and film you? I said, sure. So I filmed the 5 classes, and that's how 5 Elements Yoga became a DVD.
Oh, that's
because of the TV show.
So as they were filming, they turned it into a DVD?
No, after I made it into a DVD.
Oh, then you did it separately.
Yeah. But if you go on channel 138 regularly, every morning at 6:30 a.m., Cablevision. Or you can tune in online at jbs.org. Harmony Yoga is on every morning from 6:30 to 7 a.m.
So so they show a different show every time?
Yeah.
Or?
So there's 9 different shows, and so excerpts from the DVDs, and the 5 Elements DVD is on there because there's 5 25-minute classes that were filmed for the TV show.
I see.
So
it's a 25-minute show.
Yes, so you can practice yoga with me every day. And if you can't get up at 6:30 in the morning, you could tape it.
Good thinking.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I may be up, but I may not be ready to roll.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So when you also, don't you have some kind of an online program that people can sign up for? No? I thought you had a link on your website where people could do it through their computers too.
No, but that's the future.
Okay. All right. Well,
so thank you. Yes, because I do need to do that. I need to do some streaming. But you know, you'd be surprised. You think people don't buy DVDs anymore, but they do, and especially Middle America. You know.
So they're for purchase.
Oh yes, yeah,
okay.
on the website.
Through your website.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people do still use DVDs.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mailed one to Minnesota yesterday. You know. Yeah. So,
Ah.
but I do need to do the streaming thing. So thank you for telling me that on air.
You heard it here,
I do
right?
need to do it, right?
Well, maybe we could talk about that on the next show. You can come back and tell us about
Yeah.
all your new programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I'm really glad that that you were able to come to the show tonight.
It's my
and be a
pleasure.
guest. It's really interesting because I have not been to your studio, but I'm definitely going to try it. It's in Stamford, off of
it's off of on High Ridge Road.
on High Ridge Road. Okay.
It's at Noelle's Day Spa, which has been there for 30 years. I'm on the second
sure.
floor,
Oh,
which is
okay.
really nice because it smells good like the minute you walk in the door because of the Day
yeah.
Spa.
I didn't realize
you know?
that's where it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm upstairs, and it's a little wellness center up there. There's an acupuncturist and a psychotherapist and me, and I'm the only teacher. You know, I mean, occasionally I'll have a sub because right now I'm back in school for my 500-hour yoga teacher training. So
Okay.
I do have a sub one Saturday every other month for 2 years, every other month. So it's
well,
6 times a year.
Yeah, not very
But
often.
but I teach all the classes and I know all my students because it's
Yeah.
a small group.
Yeah.
And you know, you started off by talking about this satsang, right? This community.
Yeah.
And it is about community.
Yeah.
It really is. It's about being there for each other. Like yesterday, a student is moving to Florida, you know, and so we took her out for breakfast, you know, because 16 years, we've all been through a lot together, you know, and
Yeah.
it's also wonderful to have new people and new energy and,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah,
Well, thanks again for coming on.
My
and I'll
pleasure.
see
Thank
you there.
Katie.
And
Namaste.
Namaste. And thanks to our audience for joining us tonight. We hope to see you on the next episode of Spiritual Connection. Good night. Blessings.